Weird Al Yankovic emerged from the wild and wacky underground music scene of the 1980s to become one of the world's most successful musical comedy artists. Yankovic has had astonishing pop culture staying power. His lane may be comedy, but the facts are no joke. 5 Grammy Awards, 8 top 20 albums, and top 40 singles in 4 consecutive decades. So join us for this April Fool's Day special as the great pop culture debate considers the best Weird Al song. When I sit around the house, I really sit around the house. I'm your host, Eric Rezsnyak, and yes, I am in fact fat. Please welcome my panelists, who I somehow convinced to do this episode. Our first panelist is excited to dare to be stupid with his arguments. It's Jim Czadzeck.
Yes, and I'm ready to put all my eggs in one basket and count my chickens before they hatch.
I just ask that first you put down that chainsaw and listen to me. Next, Florence Henderson taught him to churn like a badass mother butter. It's Jonny Minogue.
On this episode, we're going to party like it's $16.99.
Well, if the Heritage Foundation has its way, we may all be doing that soon.
Ooh.
And finally, our last panelist has been known to commit some word crimes. It's Karissa Kloss.
Yeah, it's true, but you should hire some cunning linguists to help you distinguish what is proper English.
Well, I'm always HEAR to help you learn about homophones, my friend. Up in the producer booth, we have Derek Makita, who has decreed that this episode will be mandatory fun. If you're curious about how we ended up with this silly 16, become a Patreon supporter of the podcast or listen to the 3-minute preview available wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, you can head to this episode on greatpopculturedebate.com to find the listener bracket as well as the 16 nominated songs so you can play along with us at home. While you're there, check out some of our other related episodes, including Best Sitcom Theme Song, Best Song of 1985, and Best One-Hit Wonder of the 90s and 2000s, although honestly, we have never really done an episode quite like this before. And with that out of the way, let's tune into the UHF airways and get weird with these debates. First, the panel unanimously decided to put forward Eat It over 4-seed Lasagna. As someone who is now essentially Italian via homosexual transmission, I was fully lolling over this parody of La Bamba, which was itself kind of a novelty song in pop music. It's a polka-influenced Italian overlaid spoof of a Mexican folk song. It's like musical Inception. I love it, but it's up against Eat It. Did anybody else have any thoughts on Lasagna before we let it go? Other than Garfield hates it. No, actually, Garfield loves it. He hates Mondays. And carbs. I love carbs. Chris, anything?
No, but you forgot the cheese.
I did forget the cheese. Thank you very much. So we will be moving Eat It into round 2. Next, the majority of the panel wants to keep studying with 2-seed White and Nerdy, but Jim is Star Wars struck by 3-seed The Saga Begins. Karissa, ride clean or dirty as you make sure Nerdy passes this test. Jim, see if you can be more Menace than Phantom to our brackets and use Jedi mind tricks to wave Saga into round 2. Jim, please go first.
All right. So the thing about this song is I think it's a great one to start off on because what are the different types of Weird Al songs? You have, your polka medleys, right? Mm-hmm. You have your style-based parodies and pastiche that there's only a few of those on our list. None of the polkas, right? None of those ended up on our list.
I don't believe any of the polkas are, no.
And as I was listening to this today, I was thinking about, there's the parody of a song, like it's a lyric-based parody. But there's some that are, current songs. So it's heavy on, taking the modern pop song and turning those lyrics into something funny. And then you have other ones that, at least for this one, I feel like American Pie was not a popular song when this came out. It wasn't, it wasn't out just then. So I feel like the purpose of the song, the story of the song drove so much more than just doing it a parody. And so, the story of this, this Anakin guy trying to have that drive the song makes it a little bit more interesting and a little bit, I think, skillful, too. This actually, most of it was written before The Phantom Menace was even released.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah. So he did. He looked at all the fan leaks and all the insider information to get a rough estimate of the lyrics and everything. And then it was offered to him to be able to get a free screening of it, and he chose not to. He ended up going to a charity early screening to double check his lyrics. And he said he had about 95% of it correct just from all the leaks and everything.
Crazy. And
then just did some fine tuning and then released it in time for right when the movie came out. So it really hit at the same time. So it was really about the story and the movie and less about the song parody itself. But it really is, Don McLean even called it the best parody ever of American Pie. I don't know how many others there are, but that
God bless.
the best one.
I believe that to be true.
It also doesn't. What also is kind of funny about this song is that it doesn't have too many jokes in it. It's really just the plot.
It genuinely is. Great job. Karissa, talk to us about White and Nerdy.
Yeah, speaking of the exact opposite, this song is full of jokes and poking fun at himself / white people stereotypes. It's very in the vein of the old Tumblr, what stuff white people like. It's kind of like that. So this was from 2006, and it parodies "Ridin'" by Chameleonaire. This was Weird Al's only U.S. Billboard Hot 100 Top 10. It peaked at number 9. "Eat It" was second and peaked at 12. So this is, by popularity, probably his most well-known popular song. It also, in live performances, he likes to ride in on a Segway. He fully embodies everything that's happening. And just the one-liners in this song are great. One of my favorites is, "Ain't got no grills, but I still wear braces." Yeah. So I don't know. I find the Weird Al stuff that I gravitate to is, it has to be catchy. It has to be a good an improvement maybe on the source material, but also it has to be relatable. And White and Nerdy is relatable.
What's more relatable than Pocket Protectors, I ask you? Jonny
Honestly.
Minogue, is it going to be The Saga Begins or White and Nerdy?
The flow in White and Nerdy just puts it over the top.
It's interesting because I almost switched on this one, Jim, because listening to The Saga Begins, he does a really good job. We don't give enough credit to Weird Al for his actual very tight writing. This is you said it, it's an epic, and he does a really good job of telling an entire 2+ hour, deeply boring film into a 4-minute song, the original of which was a deeply boring song. But he kills it here. But I agree with Jonny and with Karissa, that flow in White and Nerdy and the success of White and Nerdy, I think it's more important to Al's overall kind of milieu. Great. So we'll be moving White and Nerdy into round 2. Next, 75% of the panel is scrubbing in to get 1 seed Like a Surgeon into the Elite 8, but Karissa is taking a seat with 4 seed Another One Rides the Bus. I will speak on why Surgeon has the right material, girl. Karissa, be the queen that you are and get bus into the express lane to round 2. Karissa, please go first.
Playing on my last argument, part of my rubric, I guess, for how I made my choices, because there are no bad choices on this bracket at all. The songs I put forward were ones that I found more relatable. And what's more relatable than having to stand on a smelly bus as more people keep boarding and boarding and boarding, and you can't reach the door, and people just keep coming on? This is the epitome of city living, public transportation. I know we've all felt it. And it's the other thing I really love about this song is that it's very accordion heavy. In the more recent songs, it's not, he doesn't lean in as hard on the accordion pop song interpretation. And that's very, very present in this one, which I just love, because when I think of Weird Al, I think of him with his crazy hair and an accordion and one of those really flashy shirts. So this feels quintessential Weird Al to me, and I understand why you all love Like a Surgeon, but I have to stand for public transportation.
Yeah, and also ride the bus more often, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
So let me talk about Like a Surgeon. This 1985 single was one of Al's biggest hits of the 80s, the lead single off his Dare to Be Stupid album. It is, of course, a play on Madonna's hit Like a Virgin from the perspective of a new and not very talented medical surgeon who is irritated that his patients keep dying before they can pay their medical bills. In addition to its success, the significant element of this song is that it is the only parody for which Yankovic took inspiration from the original artists themselves. Madonna herself reportedly wondered aloud when Al would parody her following her mainstream breakthrough the previous year, and specifically suggested the Like a Surgeon approach to a mutual connection. While he typically refuses to take suggestions for his parodies, in this case he did, and has played a significant role in his personal music iconography. A highly sensationalized version of the Madonna interaction will go on to inspire the love story plot between Madge and Al in Weird, the 2022 biopic starring Daniel Radcliffe, which if you have not watched, It is on Roku. It won the Emmy for Best Original TV Movie, by the way. It is a hoot and a holler, and I love it. I'm curious, Jonny, where are you?
Listen, everyone gets match day. If you're a fourth-year medical student, you're going to go someplace, and Madge and Like a Surgeon are going to take you there.
All right. Thank you very much. Jim, where are you? Is it going to be Like a Surgeon or Another One Rides the Bus?
I am going with Like a Surgeon, but I do think it's interesting with those earlier songs. There's so much energy, like you mentioned, the accordion use is there's just a lot of energy there that's really enduring, and also liberal use of armpit farts as a sound. Yeah, so I mean that's really worth applauding at least.
I also, someone please fact check on me on this, but I believe when I was doing my research, Another One Rides the Bus, the version that appears on the album, was actually recorded live on the Dr. Demento show, on Al's first appearance on the show. He and his colleagues literally threw this song together in the hall before they went in to record it. It was very impromptu, and like they're slapping the box of the accordion. That's where you're getting the kind of the Foley sounds. Did you find that to be true as well, Karissa?
Yeah, they recorded it in the bathroom across the hall from the radio station.
So yeah, I think that Another One Rides the Bus is important for being one of his first big successes, and it was kind of what propelled him to more success in the underground space. But Like a Virgin is what got him mainstream success, and ultimately I think that's my barometer here. So we will be moving Surgeon into round 2. Next, the panel is evenly split between one of Al's originals, 3-seed Dare to Be Stupid, and one of his first parody hits, 2-seed My Bologna. Jonny, tell us why it's no baloney. My Bologna has the knack to make it into round 2. I will squeeze all the Charmin I can while Mr. Whipple's not around as I run my smart mouth in favor of Stupid. I'll go first. Dare to Be Stupid is Weird Al's most successful original song. And while he is known primarily for his excellent parodies, I personally enjoy many of his originals. He is a great musician and a strong songwriter, and Dare to Be Stupid is a thrilling, on-brand example of what he does best. Which is not to say that it is not highly influenced by other acts, specifically Devo in this case. Their musical DNA is all over the song and its musical video. But that also makes perfect sense. Devo was absurdist and experienced mainstream success, and using that heavy synth sound and driving attack just makes sense. While Dare to Be Stupid is the title track off of Al's 1985 album, it is perhaps best known for its inclusion in the 1986 Transformers movie, the animated one, the only Transformers movie that has ever been made, according to Eric Rezsnyak. It is included as a raucous backing song to a great battle on the Junk Planet. The song has been embraced by Transformers fans, and Al himself even voiced the Junk Fighter Wreck-Gar in a subsequent iteration of the property. So with that being said, I want to throw it to Jonny about My Bologna.
And it had a first name, OSCAR. At least it was called out in that. So My Bologna was the very first song that was released by Weird Al. He recorded it along with Another One Rides the Bus in the bathroom across from KCBR at Cal Polytech, where he was a student in the 70s. He had been doing comedic music. As someone who's been on college radio for about a year, I appreciate the gumption of people who are on college radio, and he was doing that all the way back then. The song My Sharona by The Knack was huge in 1979, and he's like, why not just add comedy to it and do a rock polka melange that has been the trademark for Weird Al ever since. The ode to packaged luncheon meat was so stupid, and I've said that a number of times about this song, but it's great to be stupid. Dare to be stupid. In any event, not only does it include accordions, belches as musical instruments, and what you're going to get is the embodiment of the beginning of Weird Al. It was released in 1979, sent to Dr. Demento, which was Weird Al's icon, and he had his own show. It sold 10,000 records in its first pressing, and this is also the first song that got the artist approval. So Doug Feger, who was the lead singer of The Knack, loved it so much to help it get released by Capitol Records. This is just setting the standard for everything that Weird Al and parody music went on for the next 45 years. It still holds up. It's still funny, and it's still a very well recorded song, even in a bathroom.
Even in a bathroom. And if you eat a lot of bologna, that's where you're going to be. Karissa, is it going to be Dare to Be Stupid or My Bologna?
I'm a vegetarian, but it's My Bologna for me.
Jim, is it going to be My Bologna or Dare to Be Stupid?
Well, while My Bologna is the first, I think Dare to Be Stupid is like the thesis statement or the mantra of being a Weird Al fan or being Weird Al. So I'm with Dare to Be Stupid.
So it is a split decision. Dare to Be Stupid is the 3 seed. My Bologna is the 2. I am not mad that My Bologna is advancing here. I think from a primacy argument, it makes sense. If you have not listened to Dare to Be Stupid, if you have not listened to actually Weird Al's albums, I can't speak for my panelists, but it has been a real delight to be doing my research for this episode. I think people kind of be like, yeah, it's jokey stuff. He's a really good musician, and the albums are a great mix of originals, parodies, polkas. They're a lot of fun, and I bet you if you play them for your kids especially, you are going to seem like the coolest parent ever. So we will be moving. Yeah.
There's so much clever wordplay. It's not just tight lyrics that fit, but there's so much cleverness that it's sort of like maybe it's for a younger audience, but parents enjoy it too. It's really it's an all ages delight.
Great point. Yes, thank you so much. So we will be moving My Bologna into round 2. Next, it's another tie, this time between 2 of Al's 90s parodies, 4 seed Smells Like Nirvana and 1 seed Amish Paradise. Carissa, tell us why you've got grunge and the spirit for Nirvana. I will play it Coolio as I keep it simple in favor of my argument for Amish Paradise. Why don't we have Carissa go first?
Great. Smells Like Nirvana was one of his top 40 singles. This one is a little different in that it parodies a song, but it also parodies a genre at the same time. Kurt Cobain said it felt like they made it when this song happened, and he was not. Several artists always felt that way about it. And Al, after he had a few instances where people didn't really like what was done, and ever since then he's made sure to get the blessing and permission of everyone, even if it falls under parody copyright accessibility. This song is a read of the bands as well as the audience that participate in this genre. Some of the great lyrics are, "No, I'm mumbling and I'm screaming," and then my favorite is, this is such a tight read. "We're so loud and incoherent. Boy, this ought to bug your parents." Like, wow. He really doesn't let anybody breathe with this one, but it's so fun. And yeah, I just love it. It's Weird Al does grunge. Like, what's not to love there?
And the video is great. The video is really, really good, so check that out too. So let me talk about Amish Paradise, which is actually kind of what Carissa just alluded to. It was a parody that he did that the person he parodied did not care for. So both of these songs were big comeback hits for Al in the 90s. In the case of Amish Paradise, it came in 1996 as a cover of Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise. I think this is one of Al's best lyrical parodies. It's a great subject matter to explore because most people know about the Amish, but have the Amish themselves ever even heard this song? We may never know. The lyrics are clever and still arguably respectful of the alternative approach to modern life, and it's so catchy. Like, I listen to the song, and every time I do, I still chuckle at a line or two. One of the things that we kind of alluded to previously is that when he does the parody of a popular song, he does reach out to the original artist and ask permission. And he offers up sometimes a cut of the proceeds, sometimes which will go to a charity designated by the artist. If he doesn't get permission, he generally did not release the song as a parody, as a commercial single. It's a little more complicated with this one because Al did get permission to do the parody and release it from Coolio's record label and management, but Coolio himself did not sign off on it and was very publicly unhappy about the song at the time. Eventually, he realized that he was in the wrong, saw the homage as the honor as was intended, and he has stated publicly, including in his Hot Ones episode, that he actually regrets being a jerk about it and is fully on board because he's like, they did this to Michael Jackson and Prince. I should be honored. So, Jonny Minogue, is it going to be Gangsta's Paradise or is it going to be Smells Like Nirvana for you?
If my intro line didn't give it away, it's going to go to Amish Paradise. What happens in Lancaster stays in Lancaster. And it's my top pick. So I have to go. Even though Smells Like Nirvana is fantastic.
Great. Jim, is it going to be Smells Like Nirvana or is it going to be Amish Paradise?
Smells Like Nirvana for me. I would agree with what Jonny just said about it was peak. That moment about grunge, and the song is about kind of making fun of it, right? Like the music and the band. So no wonder they didn't like it because it was actually kind of mocking them specifically. It wasn't about something else. But it was such a formative song in my Weird Al timeline, so I'm going to go with that.
They did actually like it though. They thought it was really funny that he was ripping them. So good for them. So it's a split, and one seed is Amish Paradise here. So Amish will continue. I'm so sorry to our grunge lovers. Speaking of split decisions, another split decision as the panel is torn between 3-seed Word Crimes and 2-seed I Think I'm a Clone Now. Jim, don't blur any lines as you educate our listeners on the English language and word crimes. Jonny, grab a breakfast at Tiffany and make sure that you're not alone as you stump for clone. Jonny, please go first.
Let me just say, I could be seeing Tiffany tonight, but I do not. I already saw her with Debbie Gibson, so I'm good. This is dedication. But what's that?
Is Tiffany herself alone now? Because if you're not there, who is?
Not many people, I think, because they're still selling tickets as of this afternoon. So,
Bless her. We love you, Tiffany. We love you.
Hello over at the City Winery. That's where she's at right now. But if we get out early, maybe I can sneak over. Anyway, so if you didn't know, we're talking about I'm Thinking I'm a Clone Now, which was recorded by Tiffany. It was originally done by Tommy James and the Shondells in the 60s. This was from 1987 and was recorded in 1988 for Even Worse by Weird Al. This is another example of Al just understanding what's trendy, what's good, and what are people listening to right now in the pop culture zeitgeist. And he took that teen pop song that was one step away from the Orange Julius in the mall and gave it a treatment with some dystopian lyrics. I mean, when you're talking about things like they produced a carbon copy man born in a science lab late one night without a mother or a father, just a test tube and a womb with a view. I mean, first of all, he was ahead of human cloning about 10 years. He already knew what was going on.
Dolly could never.
He was even in the lyrics said, I've been on Oprah Winfrey. I'm world renowned. And in 1988, if you wanted to be world renowned, you got yourself on the Oprah Winfrey show. Oprah's on. And it's again, he knows what's going on in pop culture. He is aware, he's clicked in. And I think I'm a Clone Now just adds that dystopian level to just something that's fun and smells like Aquanet.
Thank you. So, Jim, talk to us about word crimes.
Well, we mentioned earlier about how Hal kicked into really great video parodies and using social media and YouTube in a way as he moved on with his career. And I think Word Crimes is around that time where he was like hitting on all cylinders, right? Like there was a lyric video for it. It was the video where he goes to a grocery store and like does the fewer or less and points at and everything. He was on social media kind of promoting it. And I think that you can't ignore that. It's a really fun song. It's a great way to take a questionable song and make it educational. And my former career as an English teacher, I loved torturing my students with it, playing it multiple times just as they're entering the room. And it wasn't really torture because they enjoyed it. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know. It has a lot of. It debuted number 39 on the Billboard. Its highest charting single ever. It's very educational, and if you can work in Oxford commas into lyrics, I think you're doing great.
Absolutely, and thank you. Civilized people use the Oxford commas. Let's just say that as a fact.
I agree.
Let's not hear anything to the contrary. Karissa Kloss, is it going to be Word Crimes or is it going to be I Think I'm a Clone Now?
It's got to be Word Crimes here. It is delightful and educational in the way that it's like a modern day schoolhouse rock. It's very catchy, and also, as Jim alluded to, the source material is let's just be nice and say problematic. And this is such a pure and wholesome way to turn that bop of a beat into something that we actually can feel good about listening to. I am Word Crimes all the way here.
Yeah, I originally voted for I Think I'm a Clone Now specifically for the Tiffany of it all, Jonny, because I feel like we see each other in that. But in reality, Word Crimes is actually not only the schoolhouse rock of it all, but it actually takes a song, which I don't think we've ever said. It's Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines, and the parody of it is now actually a better version of the original, and it is, you can listen to it and not feel guilty. So I'm switching my vote here. I'm going to give it to Word Crimes, which means that word crimes will advance into round 2. One more split decision in round 1 as the panel is evenly divided between 2 food-themed 80s parodies, 1 seed Fat and 4 seed I Love Rocky Road. Karissa, drop another dime in the jukebox and get Rocky Road into round 2. Jonny, I know you won't do a bad job as you leave no crumbs in your argument for Fat. Karissa, please go first.
I mean, I don't really know what to say about this song. It is an ode to ice cream, specifically Rocky Road. And in the lyrics, Al Yankovic enumerates the ways that he doesn't love chocolate and vanilla leaves him cold and he really just needs the Rocky Road. And so won't you please buy some and have a triple scoop with him? I mean, this is pure and sweet and invitational, just like Rocky Road itself. It is a fun... just a fun early Al. He did a lot of food stuff in the early days, which, yeah. Rocky Road, I also love, so that's part of it, along with the Addicted to Spuds. So I'm here for the Weird Al food song.
Yeah, I feel like the Act 1 of Al's career was a lot of accordion and a lot of food parodies. Speaking of food parodies, though, Jonny Minogue, talk to us about Fat.
And Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson and Weird Al kind of go hand in hand. And, you know, he loved Rocky Road. That's why there's Fat. I mean, it's the sequel to Eat It. It is, if you didn't know, it's Bad by Michael Jackson redone as Fat. When Weird Al saw the video for Bad, he goes, but what if I was big and couldn't get through the turnstile? That would be perfect. The thing that's amazing about it is that Michael Jackson actually still had the set for Bad. Before they struck the set, he let Weird Al use it and said, do you want it? It's all yours. That just shows how much respect the original artists had for Weird Al and how much they could complement and make their work kind of tie together. Because it's, we talked about earlier, it's not a parody, it's not making fun of somebody, it's kind of really more of like a wink and a nod to their work. Some of the lyrics to Fat are a little problematic if you're in the 2025 lens, but listen, your butt is wide, you want, well, mine is too, just watch your mouth and I'll sit on you. That works at Bear Week in P-Town every single year. So let me tell you that. And this hit number 99 on the Hot 100. It eked right up there, and I respect that for getting number 99, and got his second Grammy Award for Best Concept Music Video. It's one of the most iconic Weird Al videos and songs of his entire repertoire. I love it.
Great job. Jim, is it going to be Fat or is it going to be I Love Rocky Road?
I think out of the early, when I was thinking of all the earlier songs, I Love Rocky Road was the top one for me. I think I'll stick with that, even though they're both really great.
I'm going to go with Fat with Jonny here, and we can talk about the problematic nature of it a little bit in round 2, but it is the 1 seed. It's split, and so Fat is the 1 seed, and it will continue into round 2. Finally, in round 1, the panel currently wants the answer to be in the form of a question. In 2 seed, I Lost on Jeopardy, but Jonny thinks 3 seed Pretty Fly for a Rabbi is the chosen song. Jim, wager it all to see if you can move Jeopardy into round 2. Jonny, tell us why Rabbi is how we should do it. Jonny, please go first.
So I'm going to make it short and sweet because I'm going to switch my vote over to I Lost on Jeopardy, but I just wanted to give a couple of things about it. Okay, it starts off with going, how you doing, Bernie? And that actually could just be the intro to an interview between the president of the SAG-AFTRA and the senior senator from Vermont. So, and it was voiced by Mrs. Skinner and Lunch Lady Doris from The Simpsons. So it's beautiful. It's hilarious. I mean, it's taking Pretty Fly for a Wacky, and which is already kind of a parody song anyway, and actually making it a little bit more enjoyable. But with that being said, I think that I Lost on Jeopardy is the way to go on this round.
Okay, so Jim, do you want to hold on to your argument here?
Yeah, that's great, because I just looked at the notes and realized I never prepped an argument, so we're good.
Great. You're losing on Jeopardy right now. Karissa, are you going to be sticking with Jeopardy, or are you going to go with Rabbi?
I am.
All right, she's going with Jeopardy. So we'll be moving I Lost on Jeopardy into round 2, and that's the end of round 1. We're going to take a quick break to call in the Dr. Demento show. We'll be right back.
Is Captain Picard objectively the best Star Trek captain? Did The Sopranos really need that ending? These are the questions that keep us up at night. Welcome to the Great Pop Culture Debate, where passion meets pedantry. We dissect, we digress, and occasionally we devolve into glorious geeky chaos. But we can't do it without you. Support the Great Pop Culture Debate on Patreon and unlock a treasure trove of bonus content, early access to episodes, exclusive bonus debates, and the chance to finally weigh in on that great die-hard Christmas movie debate. Is it? Is it? Join the conversation. Support the Great Pop Culture Debate on Patreon, because some debates, well, they just need to happen.
And we're back for round 2 of our Best Weird Al Yankovic song debate. Before we get into the Elite Eight, I want our panelists to share their social media, what else they're working on, and if they have any ideas for parody songs that they themselves would write. Karissa, I want to start with you. Where can people find you? What are you working on? And I know you or yourself are not really a parody writer, but you do have a connection to the esteemed Mr. Yankovic.
I sure do. So you can find me on Instagram at Karissa Kloss, but I'm rarely there these days with the whole meta. I mean, you know, you all know. If you really want to talk to me, join our Patreon, join the Discord with us, which is one of the perks you can get. We're all really active there. It's honestly the sweetest, most pure space on the internet to still be snarky with your friends. Working on sewing some matching separates and also some really flashy button-up shirts that might be a little inspired by this episode. And yeah, wordplay is not necessarily my forte, but I did get to see Weird Al in concert. It was actually my first concert. I was 12. He came to the Northern Wisconsin State Fair. His set list at the time, from what I remember, was heavy on the New Kids on the Block parody stuff. We got to hear White Stuff for sure, and probably a lot of the other earlier things like Eat It and Bad or Fat and Like a Surgeon. And it was just a really great time. And I remember being, it was the summer after 6th grade, and I was very excited and thought it was very cool that I got to go to this concert.
Jonny Minogue, where can people find you? What else are you working on? And do you have a parody song idea?
I am still on pretty much everything as Jonny Minogue, one word, no H, just like Kylie and Danny. You can find me every single Tuesday night if you live in the Boston area at Club Cafe, hosting trivia from 8 to 10 p.m. So show up, clubcafe.com to reserve your table. And every fourth Friday of the month, you can find me at WZBC at Boston College, 98.3, with my friend John Whitney at Turbid Radio. And yes, I have a parody, which I just came up with a couple of my friends at karaoke a couple weeks ago. And it's the 21st century version of Fats, but in this time, it's a parody of This Is Me from The Greatest Showman called Wagovi. So we have lines like Moonjaro, Ozempic, Zepbound butt for me, Wagovi. And with the rest of my jab sisters, we understand so we don't get stuck in the turnstiles. So that's been what I would, if I could write that. And if you hear that out there, Weird Al, feel free. You can use that.
Oh, that is a blessing. Thank you very much for that. But I think we should work on making a great pop culture debate parody album, and we should make Wagovi happen. Excellent. Such a good idea. Thank you, Jonny. Jim Czadzeck, where can people find you? What else are you working on? And I believe you actually were bringing something else that's kind of in the current conversation into your kind of parody discussion.
Yeah, so first of all, I've made the jump to Blue Sky. And,
Yay,
you
welcome.
Can find me there at jczad.bluesky.social. And I'm on the other places I've mentioned before, but this is where I want to be now. And the other thing is I always feel bad when Eric says, "What are you working on right now?" And I'm like, I don't know. And so I want to pitch, again, if Weird Al's listening, he could get in on this. Weird AI. So an app that you just put in a song title and it'll spit out an AI parody of that song and then actually make the song too. So for example, I've got some songs. One is the song Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. That's just all about drinking a lot of coffee. And there's another one that is Bird's Eye Ballad, the parody of Billie Eilish's Birds of a Feather. It's it's from a bird's point of view in a daily life. And then my personal favorite is Pink Pony Club as My Little Pink Pony Club. And so it's all about my little pony. So I'm going to keep on prancing in my Little Pink Pony Club. I'm going to keep on neighing down at the Equestria's hub.
Thank you so much, Jim. And here's the other thing. This is basically job security for not only you, but Mr. Yankovic, because the AI is so bad that a real human being has to do this. So thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate your effort on that. The best place to follow us is on Blue Sky at gpcd.bsky.social or at gpcd on Mastodon. You should also make sure to subscribe to our page on YouTube, where we're posting original video content. But what you really need to do right now is to sign up for our weekly newsletter, new every Tuesday at noon, and it tells you everything new in pop culture that week. Sign up by finding the link on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or via our link tree on any of our social media accounts. I have had an idea for a parody for many years. Obviously, I'm old and I'm out of touch now, but when Rihanna's We Found Love in a Hopeless Place was out, I don't know, a decade or plus ago, I was like, we found love in hostess cake. And I have to tell you, I myself, as a gay man, have found so much pleasure from a ding-dong in my day. So I feel like it really just lends itself to parody. We're going to move into round 2 so we can get back to running with scissors. First, it's another unanimous victory for 1 seed Eat It, which has given a wedgie to 2 seed White and Nerdy. But we have not really talked about Eat It at all, and I'd like to have at least some people chime in here. Jonny Minogue, thoughts on Eat It? We haven't really talked about it.
Well, we were talking about earlier with that, and it was the food-based Michael Jackson parody. This is where it all began, and it was also, the video was just so perfectly timed to the original video, and I think that this is what made Weird Al break in pop culture in a way that nothing else had before, and it really kind of stands out, and it's still 40 plus years later memorable on its own outside of Michael Jackson.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, there's a reason it is basically just sailing into the Final Four, and it will do so as we move it into the next round. Next, it's 2 of Al's earliest parody hits, 1 seed Like a Surgeon versus 2 seed My Bologna. Jim, cut into Like a Surgeon and make sure it sews up the votes for the Final Four. Carissa, tell us why your Bologna has a first name, and it's Winner. Jim, please go first.
I think definitely the Madonna approved aspect is a big one there, and I think that it is such a hit, and it is also, like we were saying previously about Eat It, it does kind of stand on its own in terms of just it's as popular as the original possibly. Well known. It's a lot of fun. I don't know, we said all the stuff before. It definitely had some chart success as well.
It did. I'm going to go to Carissa. Talk to us about My Bologna.
Yeah, this one, as we also talked a lot about before, but just to remind you about how great this debut single from this wonderful artist is. It's very heavy on the accordion, which we all know and love. It is a sandwich how-to, if nothing else. So this song is instructional. It can help you get your life together, or at least a bologna sandwich. It is also a much purer version of than the original source material. If you compare and contrast the Nax lyrics, I always get it up for the touch of the younger kind with Weird Al's Never Gonna Stop, Eat It Up, such a tasty snack. I always eat too much, then throw up, but I'll be back. Yeah, I'd rather honestly listen to a song about overeating and throwing up than, predatory underage stuff. So yeah, I'm with My Bologna here. Also, just a callback to the Al Yankovic story. We don't know how accurate the genesis of this song is as presented in the film, but man, it is a delight, and it is that's carrying through with my decision here too.
Great. Jonny Minogue, is it going to be My Bologna or Like a Surgeon?
Strap me down, send me to the OR. It's going to be Like a Surgeon.
All right, so that means it is, I'm also sticking with Like a Surgeon here, so I believe that that will continue into the Final Four. My Bologna has had a great run, but, lips and assholes, just like us, and it's going to be seeing it to the stockyard. Next, the panelists split again, this time between 3-seed Word Crimes and 1-seed Amish Paradise. Jonny, raise the bar and raise the votes for Amish Paradise. Carissa, literally do everything you can to move Word Crimes into the Final Four. Carissa, please go first.
Yeah, I think I already waxed a little bit poetic about this, but this also, like My Bologna, a much better, purer, more wholesome version of the maybe some questionable source material. But I am someone who grew up watching Schoolhouse Rock. It was on Saturday mornings in between the cartoons, and I loved it so much. It was part of the 90s, 70s nostalgia moment. And this tickled all of that for me. It's also really clever and very accurately informative. I sort of love that Weird Al is a grammar pedant. Like, I really do. This song will teach you about less versus fewer, the correct use of literally, irony versus coincidence with a little bit of an Alanis read in there, that there's no X in espresso. I cannot stress this enough. This is very important and people need to learn. Yeah, this song is educational. It's a bop. It is an improvement on the source material. I don't know how it can't move forward.
Yeah, man. Like, I think now in an era of like chat speech more. I don't know if you read any of like what Gen Z is writing to one another, but it is grim. They are grim messages. And
there is messaging here about not using numbers or letters in place of words, and that's important.
Yeah, no, it's more relevant than ever. But Johnny, talk to us about Amish Paradise, because the Amish also more relevant than ever. Go for it.
I mean, if you've been this hot for 300 years, I mean, you're doing something right. Now, I wanna dedicate this argument to Andrea Guerrero because she would love this whole episode more than anybody else in the GPCD world. So let's talk about Amish Paradise. So one of the things that Weird Al was talking about when he was creating this video was that when he was doing the barn raising scene, because he talks about doing the barn raising, which is, that is the rave of 1996 Amish culture. It was doing a Buster Keaton bit where the walls fall in front of him and all around him. That was the scariest moment in his entire career, is watching those barn walls fall down on him. And so taking the kind of very serious lyrics of Gangsta's Paradise and then just making it so silly and like, let's just go out to Pennsylvania Dutch country and talk about churning butter, and that there's no phones, no lights on borrowed cars, no single luxury, taking from Gilligan's Island. This is the thing that's fantastic about Weird Al. He just takes pieces of pop culture from all over the place. And then throwing in, you got the Gilligan's Island, and then let's just take in some Brady Brunch. Just put Carol Brady in the Michelle Pfeiffer role as the, angry teacher. And it's like, let's throw a bonnet on her and call it a day. And that's what he did. I think this was such a departure from anything else that he had done. He had really not delved into rap music at that point.
That's a good point.
And again, I mentioned this earlier, this was my number one pick of all.
He not only had flow in the rap sense, he had flow in the Henderson sense. And that means that this song has Wessonality. So I appreciate that. Jim Czadzeck, is it going to be Word Crimes or is it going to be Amish Paradise for you?
Like I mentioned before, I think Word Crimes I really, really love, but I think I'll be on the wrong side of history if I don't go with Amish Paradise, because Johnny, you make some wonderful arguments about that moment in Al's career.
It's a good point, because he could have stalled out. He was struggling after his height in the 80s, right? And he had Smells Like Nirvana and then this in the 90s, which are like, no, actually, this is not like a gimmick thing. This is not a flash in the pan. He's going to be around for a while. And like, spoiler, he is now around for like literally 4 decades. He keeps coming back. And God bless him for it, right? I'm going to be honest, Karissa, you had swung me over to Word Crimes, because I think from a like switching up a song that is tough, and it had not occurred to me how many of these songs are either the originals were about sexual harassment or being sex pests, but it doesn't matter, because Jim and Johnny, they're on the 1 seed, which is Amish Paradise, so Amish Paradise will continue into the final 4. Finally, in round 2, it's 1 seed Fat versus 2 seed I Lost on Jeopardy. I had no idea where this is going, so I'm just going to go around the horn. Johnny, is it going to be Fat or Jeopardy?
I think it's going to be I Lost on Jeopardy. I think this is one song where the parody, I feel like, has outlasted the original.
Okay, Jim, is it going to be Fat or is it going to be I Lost on Jeopardy?
I'd go with the same thing, that I thought this was an original song originally when I heard it as a kid.
Karissa, is it going to be I Lost on Jeopardy or Fat?
Listening to all this stuff now in preparation for this, I'm definitely with Jeopardy here. I don't know. There's just something about Fat that doesn't hit the same way now as it used to.
I'll go ahead and give it to Jeopardy 2. We'll make it a clean sweep. With that being said, we have our final four. We're going to take a quick break and bust out our squeeze boxes and have a polka party. We'll be right back in 3D.
Welcome, seekers of knowledge, to the hallowed halls of the Great Pop Culture Debate Archives. Are you yearning for deeper understanding of the cinematic universe? Perhaps a spirited discussion on the merits of 80s cartoons? Or maybe you simply wish to settle once and for all the age-old question, is cereal soup? Our extensive collection of episodes awaits you, each one a treasure trove of passionate arguments, insightful analysis, and the occasional, shall we say, spirited disagreement. From the epic battles of fandom to the quiet contemplation of artistic merit, you'll find it all within our digital stacks. So come explore our full library of episodes at greatpopculturedebate.com. Your quest for pop culture enlightenment begins here.
And we are back with the final four of our best Weird Al song debate. At this point in the show, I always like to take a step back and see if it shook out the way I expected it to. We have Eat It, which is a 1 seed versus Like a Surgeon, a 1 seed. Amish Paradise is a 1 seed versus I Lost on Jeopardy, a 2 seed. These are all videos that were iconic for Weird Al. And again, so 3 80s and a 90s. Weird Al really was kind of a pioneer in MTV and music videos, and I think he doesn't get the credit that he deserves, so I'm glad that we're kind of talking about those involved with this. Karissa Kloss, Eat It versus Like a Surgeon, where are you voting?
I'm going to go with Eat It here. There's just something about the basicness of the lyrics, and yeah, maybe it is problematic in its own way, but have a banana, have a whole bunch. I just really liked that. And also, I don't know, this is maybe you may vote against it because you're anti-establishment Richie Rich, because he does say to get yourself an egg and beat it. And we all know that these days you'd have to mortgage your house to do that. But otherwise, it's accessible. We all do have to eat, right? And, sometimes you don't want to. So, yeah, it's Eat It for me.
Thank you, Karissa. Jonny Minogue, is it going to be Eat It or is it going to be Like a Surgeon?
I love Madge. I always love Madge, but when I was a kid, I loved Raisin Bran, and this song called out Raisin Bran, so I'm going with Eat It.
Yeah, go ahead,
digestive health is important.
It 100% is. You need to get that fiber in your diet. Don't want no Captain Crunch. Don't want no Raisin Bran, I believe is the specific lyric I'm looking up right now. Jim Czadzeck, where are you? Is it going to be Eat It or is it going to be Like a Surgeon?
It's going to be for the Grammy Award-winning Eat It.
Yeah, and what did it win the Grammy for? Can you remind us?
1984 Grammy Award in Best Comedy Recording category.
Excellent. I'm also going to give it to Eat It. Like a Surgeon is important because of the Madonna piece to it, and it really did help to explode Al's career. But Eat It, I think, is frankly his first big mainstream success. Next, we have Amish Paradise versus I Lost on Jeopardy. Jim Czadzeck, which one's it going to be?
I'm still riding on Johnny's argument before. I think Amish Paradise is the one that I'm going to go with.
Karissa Kloss, is it Amish Paradise or I Lost on Jeopardy?
I'm going to go with Amish Paradise here.
Okay. Is it because you enjoy quilting?
A little bit, and it's also because I grew up in a village in Wisconsin, and since I left, the population has jumped by about 100, which is like a 25% increase, okay, because of all of the Amish in the area. So I grew up around a lot of them, and I can tell you a few things that didn't make the song. They love sand volleyball. They all have nets in their yards. They also really like the rollerblades, the inline skates.
Well, now we have a sequel. Maybe Mennonite Paradise is coming?
There we go.
Yeah, Mennonite Honeymoon? I don't know. I'll leave that to Weird Al. Jonny Minogue, I think I have a feeling where you're going. Is it Amish Paradise or I Lost on Jeopardy?
Well, the real Amish Paradise is Pinecraft, Florida, where they go on vacation, if you didn't know that.
I did not know this.
Yeah, there is a town where Amish and Mennonite people go and get away from the cold weather, and that's there. And yes, of course, I'm going with Amish Paradise. I'm hitching up my buggy right now.
Work. I'm also going to make it a clean sweep for Amish Paradise, which gives us a final two of Eat It versus Amish Paradise. We have one 80s and one 90s hit. I do think these are both really pivotal for Al. I think this is the right final two. I want to start smack dab in the middle. Jonny Minogue, Amish Paradise or Eat It?
I don't think it's gonna win, but I can't get off this buggy for anything. Amish Paradise is my number one going forward. It's the song that I will still sing, and I know more lyrics of this than anything else. Me and my bonnet are going Amish Paradise for the win.
All right, Karissa Kloss, is it Amish Paradise or Eat It?
I'm going to lean into the early Weird Al nostalgia that I have and go with Eat It here.
Jim Czadzeck, Eat It or Amish Paradise?
And my vote is for Eat It.
Yeah, I love Amish Paradise. I think it was super important for Al's second act, but I think Eat It is a fundamental Al song, and we really didn't talk that much about the lyrics. Your table manners are a crying shame. You're playing with your food. This ain't no some kind of game. If you don't like it, you can send it back. Just eat it, eat it. Hee hee. Important. Eat it, eat it. Get yourself an egg and beat it. Oh, Lord. Have some more chicken. Hee hee. Have some more pie. Hee hee. It doesn't matter if it's broiled or fried. Like, come on. It's Weird Al Yankovic. It is the early one, but it's still so good. And there you have it. Our pick for the best Weird Al song is Eat It. Do you agree? Do you think that we've gone off the deep end? Tell us how you really feel by leaving a comment on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or find us on Blue Sky or Mastodon. While you're there, make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast so you can hear about what new debates are coming soon, vote in open polls, and even decide which topics we tackle next. I want to say thank you to my panel. I don't think there is anything weird about you. And thank you for listening. If you loved what you heard, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get even more exclusive content and you get episodes a whole day early. We hope you have a good one, and remember, everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion. Hee hee!